You've mastered the art of letting go, a skill they'll never wrap their heads around. And because of it, you slipped away from them like smoke through their fingers. See, they're stuck trapped in their attachments, weighed down by the chains of their cravings and fears. But not you. No, you've risen above all that, haven't you? You've broken those chains, set yourself free from the burden of expectations, emotions, and the trivial distractions that keep them tied to their mediocrity. Now you move like a ghost, untouchable, invisible, leaving disorder in your wake. Detachment isn't just your shield, it's your weapon. A double-edged sword that slices through the illusions they hold so dearly. They believe that clinging makes them strong, that their attachments give them some kind of power. But you know better, don't you? The more they cling, the more control slips from their grasp. Their need to possess, to dominate, is what makes them weak. It's what leaves them exposed, vulnerable. You've seen it, right? That fear in their eyes, the desperation as they hold on to their fragile sense of security. You, on the other hand, have learned the art of release. You've loosened your grip on everything that once held you down. And in that release, you found a strength they can't even begin to understand. They want you to care, to be invested, to play by the rules of their broken game. But you've rewritten those rules, haven't you? You've mastered the art of detachment, and now you're playing on a different level, a higher level, where their tricks can't touch you. They wanted you to react, to get angry, to fight for whatever it was they thought you cared about. But instead, you stepped back. You smiled that cold, knowing smile and let everything around you burn. And in that moment, they realized something: they had no power over you. You were free while they remained stuck, tangled in their own web of attachments. Detachment isn't about not caring, it's about seeing clearly. It's about cutting through the fog, seeing the world for what it really is without all the emotional noise. You've stripped away the excess, the nonsense, and now your vision is razor sharp, cutting through the lies they tell themselves. You become a mirror reflecting their own weaknesses right back at them, forcing them to face the truth they've been running from. And oh, they hate you for it, don't they? They can't stand the fact that you've reached something they'll never touch, that ability to walk away without looking back, without a second thought. In your detachment, you found a strange kind of freedom, a liberation from the chains that still hold them down. You're not bound by the need for approval, for validation, for the shallow comforts they chase. You've moved past those things, left them behind like ashes in the wind. Now you move with a grace, a smoothness they'll never understand. While they cling to their fleeting attachments, you've learned to move freely, untethered. And that's why you're untouchable. To them, you're like a storm, wild, untamed, impossible to predict. And that scares them, shakes them to the core, because they realize you've got nothing to lose, nothing they can hold over you. You've mastered the fine art of detachment. And with that mastery, you've unlocked the ultimate power, the power to remain unshaken, untouched by the chaos swirling around you. You've stepped away from their little game. You're not a piece on their board anymore. You're the one pulling the strings now, shaping your own destiny. They can't toy with you, can't use their cheap tricks to influence you, because you've freed yourself from the need to win, from the need to prove anything. You've become an observer, watching as the world crumbles from a distance, wearing a smirk that drives them insane. And that, right there, is your greatest weapon, your detachment. Because while they're busy clawing at the wreckage, desperate to hang on to their illusions, you've already won. You've stepped back, saw the futility of it all, and walked away, victorious, without even raising a hand. You've made detachment an art form. And by doing so, you've flipped the script. You're no longer just another piece in their puzzle. You've become the one writing the rules. You see every move before it's made, while they struggle with their own entanglements, their own fears. And here you are, watching from above, untouched, unmoved, and completely in control. Detachment. It's got a dark allure to it, doesn't it? It's like a hidden power that separates the strong from the weak, the ones in control from the ones who are controlled. They don't get it, not really. To them, detachment feels cold, unnatural, something to shy away from. But you've uncovered its true strength, You've realized that detachment isn't about being distant or emotionless, it's about having ultimate control over yourself. It's become your shield, your charm. The talisman that protects you from the petty emotions that trap others. It's why you glide through the world with that unnerving calm, that silent confidence that sends shivers through anyone who dares to stand in your way. Detachment is like a spell casting an aura around you, making you untouchable. But it's not just about stepping back. No, it's about building a fortress, brick by brick, around your soul. A fortress that nothing and no one can breach unless you decide to let them in. It's a calculated distance from the madness, the chaos, the noise that surrounds them. And in that space, you find clarity. You find your power. You find a strength they'll never know. They see you standing alone, and they think it's loneliness. But what they don't realize is that it's freedom. Freedom they can't even dream of. Freedom from the chains they can't break, from the illusions they endlessly chase. Detachment is your forge, where your character is sharpened, refined to a deadly precision. It burns away the weaknesses, the emotional debris, leaving only the essential, the unshakable core of who you really are. Detachment is not about abandoning the world, it's about seeing it with clarity. Free from the illusions that entrap others. It's the mastery of emotions, the ability to remain unaffected by the fleeting, to choose with precision where to invest your energy. It allows me to walk away without hesitation, knowing that by not engaging in the trivial battles, you've already claimed victory. In this mastery lies an unshakable strength, a resilience that is born from being driven by your own principles, not by society's whims. Society, after all, is a master manipulator, the unseen puppeteer that tugs on the strings of the masses. People believe they are free, that their choices are their own. But the reality is far darker. They are merely puppets in a carefully orchestrated dance, conditioned to attach their worth to the fleeting and the meaningless. They cling to material possessions, the latest trends and cheap thrills, mistaking them for purpose, for identity. But look closely, what do you see? A society obsessed with accumulation, constantly chasing the next big thing, as if these ephemeral pleasures hold the key to fulfillment. Yet, it's all a grand illusion, isn't it? A carefully crafted deception designed to keep them distracted, obedient, and tethered. They pour their energy, their very essence, into the pursuit of these false gods, never realizing that the more they chase, the tighter the strings become. The noose of their attachment draws ever closer, tightening with every new possession, every new trend they adopt. And all the while, they fail to see the bars of their self-imposed cage. They don't recognize that their obsession with materialism and external validation is the very thing that enslaves them. Like moths to a flame, they are drawn to the allure of brightness, only to be consumed by their desires. Their worth is tied to possessions, status symbols, and the opinions of others, without ever questioning the true cost of these attachments. True freedom, you see, doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from letting go. Detachment is the antidote to everything society upholds, the rare wisdom that the enlightened have always known. To be truly powerful, you must sever the strings that bind you to the material world, to the illusions that are fed to you daily. Detachment is not renunciation. It's a deeper understanding of what truly matters. You engage with the world but remain untouched by its distractions. You see it for what it is, a stage, a fleeting play of shadows. And in this realization, you gain true power, the kind that society fears because it cannot control you. While others remain enslaved by their attachments, you walk freely. Detachment grants you clarity, inner strength, and a level of mastery that most will never achieve. In a world where everyone is bound by invisible chains, your freedom makes you dangerous, untouchable, and ultimately unstoppable. It's about seeing the world for what it truly is, a stage, a game, a fleeting dream. And in that realization, you gain an untouchable power, the ability to navigate life unburdened, free from the shackles that bind others. Detachment is liberation. And that very freedom is what society fears the most. Society, with its intricate web of control, despises detachment because it cannot manipulate those who refuse to follow its rules. A detached individual becomes a rogue element, unpredictable, unbound by the empty promises of materialism or the hollow allure of trends. Advertisements fail to sway them, societal pressures have no grip, and the lure of shallow pleasures only provokes disinterest. The detached see through the glittering facade, the carefully constructed illusions that society feeds to the masses. Instead, they choose a different path, the path of self-mastery, inner strength, and true freedom. The puppets of society, those who live tethered to their attachments, look upon the detached with suspicion, envy, and fear. On a deep primal level, they recognize the power in detachment, the strength they lack, and how it elevates those who embrace it above the mundane concerns of the herd. But instead of seeking to understand, instead of exploring the path of detachment, they double down on their attachments. They cling tighter to their possessions, their distractions, their shallow pleasures, believing that these things will somehow fill the emptiness inside. What they fail to see is that it is these very attachments that are hollowing them out, turning them into shadows of what they could be. Detachment, then, is not merely a personal trait. It's a rebellion. It's a declaration of independence from the mindless consumption, the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that society thrives upon. It is a refusal to be reduced to a mere consumer, a cog in a machine that seeks to define your worth through what you own, what you desire, and what you chase. In detachment, you find clarity. You find strength, you find yourself, but this path is not for everyone. Most will never walk it, will never even see it. They are too deeply entrenched in the lies they've been sold, too afraid to let go of the illusions that define their lives. These are the puppets, forever dancing to society's tune, until the strings snap and they are left to fall, broken, into the void of their own making. You, however, have seen the truth. You've mastered the art of detachment, and in doing so, you've transcended the trivial concerns that govern the masses. You've become something more, something they cannot understand, cannot control. You move through the world like a shadow, unaffected by the cheap thrills and empty promises that ensnare others. And in that detachment, you have found a power that is both dark and liberating. A power that sets you apart, a power that makes you dangerous. In detachment, you find your truth. Not the masks you wear to fit in, not the roles they impose on you, but the raw essence of your being. It strips away everything false, everything society has conditioned you to be. And what they'll never understand is that detachment doesn't make you cold or distant, it makes you more alive, more human. You've unlocked a force they can't grasp, a magic charm that lets you walk through flames without feeling the heat, to stand tall in the middle of the storm with a calm smile. While they waver, while they scramble to find their footing, you stand firm, steady as the world crumbles around you. Detachment sharpens your vision. It clears the haze of emotions that clouds their judgment. It gives you the patience to wait for the right moment, and the strength to strike when that moment comes. It's not passive, it's an active force. A weapon you wield with deadly intent. And they try, don't they? They try to pull you back into their chaos, their meaningless games. They provoke you, bait you, hoping you'll react, hoping you'll care. But you've seen through it all. You've seen the strings they pull, the traps they lay, and you've chosen not to play. Detachment is your shield, your sword, your armor. It's a tool that lets you move through life without being weighed down by petty concerns. And with every step in detachment, your character is solidified, your will becomes unbreakable. You've become something they can't control, can't bend, can't manipulate. But there's a darker edge to this, isn't there? Detachment isn't just a shield, it's a mirror. It reflects their insecurities, their failures back at them. In you, they see their lack, their inability to stand alone, to walk away from the things that bind them. And that terrifies them because they know they don't have the strength to do what you've done. They can't let go. They're trapped by the very things they hold dear. And they despise you for your freedom, for your independence, for the unshakable resolve that's become your trademark. But this detachment is the very thing that's building you, transforming you into something more. It's not just a mindset, it's a metamorphosis. You've risen above the noise, the trivialities that consume them. You've seen the world for what it is, a stage, a game of shadows, illusions. And you in detachment have become the one pulling the strings, directing the play. You move the pieces with a calm, calculated precision that leaves them bewildered, powerless, standing in the wreckage of their own creation.